This is the story of Taimoor, a 13-year-old kid who loved stories about time travel. One day, while cleaning his father's antiques clock shop, he stumbled upon a mysterious golden pocket watch. When he wound it up, a golden light burst forth, swirling around him until he found himself in a field in the year 1225. He looked around in amazement as people in old clothes walked by, talking in a language that he understood. Suddenly, a group of men on horseback approached him. They had spears and shields, and they were dressed like medieval soldiers. One of them spoke up, his voice loud and commanding. "Who are you, and how did you get here?" Taimoor was scared, but he quickly composed himself. "My name is Taimoor, and I come from the future." The soldier's eyes widened in surprise. "The future? What do you mean?" Before Taimoor could answer, another soldier shouted, "Look out!" A huge boulder rolled down the hill, heading straight for them. To be continued. Taimoor wandered closer to the old stone castle. His clothes had changed too. He now wore a simple tunic, sandals, and a cloth belt, blending in perfectly. No one questioned him as he walked among them. Horses neighed, market stalls buzzed with activity, and town criers shouted news in the square. But then, a sudden commotion. Taimoor turned toward a crowd forming near the castle gates. Two heavily armed guards were dragging a girl in chains. She walked with her head high, calm, proud. The townspeople whispered, "That's Zainab bint Fad," one old man told his friend, loud enough for Taimoor to hear. "The girl who knows the castle's secret. The king has locked her up." "A secret," Taimoor muttered. He had to know more, staying hidden. He followed the guards as they led Zainab inside the castle. He waited until dusk, then crept around the back wall, where he discovered a loose stone in the outer wall, a perfect spot to slip through. Inside the castle, Taimoor carefully explored until he found the dungeons. The stone hallways echoed with water drips and muffled voices. Finally, he reached the cell where the girl sat calmly, her back straight, staring at the wall. He whispered, "Are you Z?" She looked up, surprised but not scared. "Who are you?" Taimoor stepped closer and pulled the golden pocket watch from his tunic. The glow was faint but visible. Zainab's eyes widened. "That watch. It's the keeper's key. I thought it was lost forever." Taimoor blinked. "You know what this is?" She nodded. "My father was the guardian of time. Before he disappeared, he told me about this watch. It holds the power to travel through time and protect it." Taimoor whispered, "Then why are you here?" Zainab looked away. "Because the king wants the key. He thinks I know where it is, but I didn't. Not until now." Suddenly, footsteps echoed in the court. "We have to get out of here," Taimoor said quickly. Zainab smiled slightly. "There's a secret tunnel under this floor. Help me move the stone." Together, they shifted a large tile under the straw mat. Beneath it was a ladder leading into darkness. They climbed down into a narrow tunnel. The walls were damp and cold. After what felt like forever, they saw a faint light. At the end finally emerged outside the castle, near the woods. Catching her breath, Zainab turned to him. "You are not just a traveler. You've been chosen. The timelines are in danger, and you have the last key." Taimoor looked at the glowing watch again. He had so many questions. Who was the guardian? What danger was coming? And why him? But he knew one thing for sure. His journey was just beginning. Night had fallen. The stars above shimmered brighter than Taimoor had ever seen in his life. Zainab and Taimoor sat beside a small stream outside the castle walls, hidden among the trees. The forest was peaceful, but both knew danger still lingered behind them. Taimoor stared at the golden pocket watch, resting on a smooth stone between them. Its glow had dimmed since their escape. He asked quietly, "You said I've been chosen, but why me?" Zainab didn't answer immediately. She took a deep breath, her eyes fixed on the moonlight glinting off the watch. "My father told me before he disappeared that the Guardianess key would one day appear in the hands of a child from another time, someone pure of heart, not yet clouded by greed or fear. That person would help restore the balance of time." Taimoor frowned. "Restore it? What's wrong with time?" Zainab turned to him. "There is something known as the Book of Echoes. It holds records of all time, past, present, and even possible futures. The book was sealed long ago because someone tried to rewrite history using it. Taimoor's eyes widened. Rewriting time. That sounds dangerous. Zainab nodded. Deadly. The man who tried. His name was Malik He called himself the Shadow Watcher. When he failed, he vanished, but some say he still lives in the gaps between time. Taimoor's heart raced. And you think he's after this pocket watch? Zainab looked grave. He's not just after it. He wants it, and he may already know you have it. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew through the forest. It wasn't cold, but unnatural. The leaves didn't rustle. The birds didn't stir. Zainab stood up quickly. We have to move. Where? Taimoor asked, grabbing the watch. To the hidden library, Zainab replied. It's the only place where the Book of Echoes might still exist. It's guarded by the timekeepers. If any are still alive, they began walking deeper into the woods. The moon guided their path as they followed a trail. Only Zainab seemed to know. Strange trees with twisting roots and glowing mushrooms lit the ground. It felt like the forest itself was alive watching them. After what felt like hours, they arrived at a wall of stone covered in vines. Here, Zainab whispered. She pressed her palm against a large spiral symbol carved into the stone. A soft hum filled the air, and the stone slowly opened to reveal a staircase descending underground. Taimoor hesitated. Don't be afraid, Zainab said gently. The keepers protect this place. We'll be safe here. They walked down the winding stairs into a vast, circular hall filled with ancient books, scrolls, glowing lanterns, and carvings of time symbols on the walls. At the center stood a pedestal, and upon it, a large, silver-bound book. Zainab gasped. The Book of Echoes. It's still here. Taimoor stepped closer, feeling a strange pull. As he placed his hand near the book, the pages flipped open on their own, settling on a blank page. Then, glowing ink appeared, writing itself in swirling letters. The traveler has arrived. Time is fragile. The shadow stirs again. Taimoor stepped back. It knows me, Zainab whispered. The book is alive with time. It senses your presence. Just then, the ground trembled slightly. A breeze swept through the chamber, though there were no windows. From the shadows at the edge of the room, a voice echoed. So, the last keeper's child still guards the gate, and the traveler finally appears. Taimoor spun around. A tall, hooded figure stepped out of the darkness. His cloak shimmered like smoke, and his eyes, when they became visible, glowed silver. Malik Al-Zar, Zainab said the name like a curse. The Shadow Watcher raised a hand, and the flames in the lanterns flickered. You cannot stop time. Girl, he hissed. But I will own it. Taimoor clutched the watch tightly. The glow returned brighter than ever. He felt warmth rush through his fingertips and up his arm. Zainab ran to the pedestal and slammed the Book of Echoes shut. The room shook violently. No, Malik roared. The watch in Taimoor's hand began to hum louder and louder, vibrating with power. Suddenly, a pulse of light burst from the book and the watch, at once sending the Shadow Watcher, where he vanished into a dark crack in the stone wall. Silence returned. Taimoor collapsed to his knees, breathing heavily. Zainab came beside him. You awaken the book's protection. It only responds to the true. Taimoor looked at the golden watch again. Is he gone? For now, Zainab said softly. But he will return. He always does. As the golden light of the ancient watch faded, Taimoor and Zainab stood motionless inside the hidden library's echoing chamber. The Book of Echoes now hovered gently above its pedestal, a quiet hum radiating from its pages. Taimoor reached forward. The book opened on its own, and glowing golden text began to scroll across the page. To seal the breach, find the eye that sees all. Time is fractured. Beneath the sands where gods once walked lies the temple of time. Only the Eye of Ra can reveal the path forward. Zainab's eyes lit up. It's Egypt, ancient Egypt. Its glowing hands began to spin wildly. and suddenly, the watch projected a glowing compass pointing east. The Eye of Ra is a powerful artifact. It can cut through illusions, even those created by Malik. Taimoor looked down at the pocket watch in his hand. Without hesitation, he turned the dial. For woo! In an instant, the golden mist returned. Surrounding them, time folding and flowing in waves, hidden among the paws of the Sphinx. They found a cracked stone plate with hieroglyphs, sand, and far beyond, the Sphinx older and darker than the one in Taimoor's history books. Burning heat, endless dunes, the air shimmered under the blazing sun. They had landed in the middle of ancient Egypt. The desert wind whispered across the vast landscape. In the distance stood broken statues, palm trees. Near a glistening oasis, tall pillars lined the corridor, and at its heart sat a pedestal holding a bright red gem shaped like an eye. Zainab tied a scarf around her head. This is the first Sphinx one erased from time. The Temple of Time should lie beneath it. They trudged across the hot sand until they reached the base of the ancient statue. Taimoor touched it gently. The golden watch began to glow. Suddenly, the sand shook. The plate slid open, revealing a hidden passage beneath the statue. The air grew cool and still. Along the walls were glowing mural sun gods, clocks with wings, and figures holding hourglasses upside down. Zainab lit a torch. "This is it. I've searched lifetimes for this temple, and now you've led me straight to it." They descended a spiraling staircase, deep underground. At the bottom, a vast underground temple opened before them. The Eye of Ra. Taimoor took a step forward, but the air shifted. A cold breeze. A whisper. "You're too late." A voice echoed from the shadows. "It's chosen you." From behind one of the pillars stepped Malik. His cloak rippled like smoke, and his eyes gleamed silver in the torchlight. "I must thank you," he said with a cold smile. Zainab stepped in front of Taimoor. "You won't get there." Malik raised a hand. Shadows slithered from the walls and wrapped around the pedestal. The Eye of Ra began to float into the air, slowly pulled toward him. But at that moment, Taimoor's watch glowed fiercely. It pulsed once, twice, then exploded in a beam of golden light. Striking the eye mid-air, a powerful shield formed around it. The floor beneath him cracked, and a swirling black portal opened beneath his feet. Malik screamed, "No! That watch!" Zainab shouted, "Taimoor, now, touch the eye." Taimoor sprinted forward and placed his hand on the Eye of Ra. For a moment, everything stopped. A rush of light flooded his mind, images of past lives, alternate futures, collapsing stars, rising empires, forgotten truths, now connected to his watch by a thread of glowing light. The symbols on the walls glowed brighter now. The torches steadied. He might have already touched a time core. A voice echoed in his mind. "You are the chosen by time. The eye shall reveal what is hidden. Protect the stream. Guard the thread." Suddenly, a burst of red and gold light shot through the room. Malik was hurled back to the shadows around him, screeching and evaporating. He vanished, his scream echoing into the void. Silence returned. The Eye of Ra hovered gently. Above Taimoor's hand, Zainab exhaled. "You did it. You're the real thing, a keeper of time." Taimoor looked around the temple. He turned to Zainab. "If Malik was here," she nodded, "then we don't have much time." The library was a disaster. Grand pillars cracked, books glowing with unstable energy. Time was literally leaking out of the pages. Just then, a familiar figure stepped out from the wreckage. "You're alive!" she cried. It was Zainab's uncle, the wise old keeper. "We lost many keepers," he said, his eyes filled with sorrow. "We feared you were erased," Taimoor explained. "They'd only been gone for hours, not years." But the keeper shook his head. "In a fractured timeline, time moves differently. You must hurry. Malik has breached a time core. He's rewriting history. If he reaches the spiral gate inside the core, he can make himself immortal." He handed Taimoor a scroll. "This will lead you to the gate, but be warned, you must pass through the Trial of Echoes, a world of memories and illusions. Only you can survive that, Taimoor. The Eye of Ra will protect you if your heart remains steady. Taimoor took a deep breath and opened the scroll. And with that, the trial began. The end. Or maybe just the beginning. Hey, you made it to the end. Wow. Do you want to see another episode? Because we're almost done. Just a few more to go. I know this one hurts. We had to say goodbye to some characters and storylines. But their story isn't really over. They're just passing the mantle to someone new. Don't worry though. We'll check in on them all again in the next episode. So make sure you stick around. Now, while you wait, why not check out our other stories? There's plenty of adventures waiting for you there too. I'll see you later. The softest silence hung in the vast library. A silence so profound it felt like a melody played on an empty violin string. Sunbeams filtered through the stained glass windows high above, casting kaleidoscopic patterns on the floor and painting dust motes dancing in the air. In the center of it all sat Taimoor. In the Garden of Time, his gaze fixed on the hypnotic play of light and color. His right hand rested lightly on the still silent golden watch, its intricate clockwork gleaming softly. But by what and why? Memories flooded Taimoor's mind, the echoes of past battles and sacrifices made to safeguard the timeline. It pulsed with a sinister energy that sent shivers down their spines. Within the vault, perched atop an obsidian pedestal, sat an hourglass filled with swirling black sand. Don't you understand? You shouldn't be here. Taimoor felt a surge of protectiveness, a primal instinct to shield Zainab from whatever this being represented. The walls of the library began to fade, blurring like watercolors left out in the rain. All around them, the citadel crumbled, dissolving into a haze of forgotten memories. Taimoor reached out, his fingers brushing against Zainab's arm, grounding her in the present moment. Her eyes, wide with dawning comprehension, met his. They were trapped, not in an endless void or a shattered timeline, but within the labyrinth of their own existence. The golden watch, the silent sentinel of their journey, whispered its final message. Time is a circle. Every circle has a shadow. The ground beneath them rumbled. The portal shimmered, promising passage to parts unknown. And as the last vestiges of the library faded away, they stepped into the unknown together, not as travelers, not as guardians, but as an integral part of the very fabric of time, caught in its endless, intricate design. He instinctively stepped in front of her, his gaze unwavering. The echo took a step closer, his eyes boring into Taimoor, and replied, "Why have you come here? This place exists outside of time. It should be unchangeable." Taimoor stammered, struggling to find the words to express the turmoil within him. "I was hoping to find peace, to lay down my burden, our burden, finally." The echo let out a humorless laugh, the sound echoing eerily in the vast chamber. "There is no peace here, only echoes of those who sought it and failed. Just as you will. But we closed the spiral gate," Taimoor protested. "We sealed away the void and mended the timeline. Isn't that peace?" The echo shook his head slowly, his eyes filled with a haunting sadness. "You did close the gate, yes, but you left one doorway open, the one inside yourself." Taimoor frowned in confusion, searching for the meaning behind the cryptic words. The echo gestured to the pocket watch frozen on the pedestal, its ticking. "That is your burden, Taimoor. That is what you have become. Are you not aware? You cannot escape it." It was as if the essence of night itself had been captured within its confines. The echo's gaze fell to the swirling hourglass, now nearly empty. "I am the version of you who kept traveling," he said softly, "who kept fixing, who never stopped, who forgot who he was, and in doing so, became a new anomaly, the consequence of your choices, the price you paid to save this world. You are me, or rather, I am you. The proof that some wounds never truly heal, some sacrifices never truly end." His words hung in the air, heavy with the weight of their shared pasts and the haunting implications of their intertwined fates. Time, it seemed, had a way of evening the score, of weaving a tapestry of cause and effect. Their victory had come at a cost, and now they were faced with the unsettling realization that they were not truly victorious. Their struggle, their sacrifice, their pain, it was all part of a grander scheme that defied their understanding. The swirling sand seemed to form into tiny figures locked in a desperate struggle, mirroring the eternal battle between order and chaos. Above the hourglass, suspended in midair, floated a golden pocket watch. It was identical to Taimoor's, except for the fact that it was cracked and frozen. Its hands stuck at precisely 6:06, the exact moment when he had sealed the spiral gate. Its rhythmic ticking, a haunting reminder of their lost eternity, had fallen silent. Had their victory been in vain? The watch ticked incessantly, each tick echoing the relentless march of time slipping through their fingers. The vault trembled, and the shadows within the hourglass writhed and twisted, reaching out like grasping claws. A sense of impending doom settled over them. This was no ordinary anomaly. It was something deeply rooted in the fabric of time itself, something that threatened to undo all they had fought for. Just then, a tall, imposing figure stepped out from behind the hourglass, emerging from the swirling darkness like a specter. His features were shrouded in shadow, but as he moved closer, his face came into view, revealing a striking resemblance to Taimoor. Yet there was a chilling difference in his eyes, a coldness and sharpness that sent a shiver down their spines. Suddenly, the ground beneath their feet trembled violently, sending tremors through the very foundations of their sanctuary. In the far corner of the library, a section of the ancient wall shimmered and flickered, revealing a shimmering portal behind it. Startled, they rushed toward it, their steps echoing in the vast space. Beside him, Zainab sat cross-legged, her attention absorbed in an ancient scroll that detailed the deeds of the first keepers of time. She traced the faded ink with a fingertip, her brow furrowed in concentration. It had been weeks since they had closed the spiral gate, permanently sealing away the void and restoring balance to the fractured timeline. Now, peace had returned to the citadel of Sills. The silence, which had been a comforting presence, now roared in their ears like a vacuum. The golden watch on Taimoor's lap gave off a faint yet unmistakable tick. Both of them froze, their heads snapping toward the source of the sound. The watch lay silently. Once more, its gears still and silent. "Did you hear that?" Zainab breathed, her eyes wide with disbelief. Taimoor, his face etched with concern, nodded slowly. Tick! The hand on the watch began to move, twitching like a startled bird. But it wasn't moving forward, it was moving backward. Fear tightened its icy grip on their hearts. They watched, paralyzed with dread as the hands of the watch spun in reverse, ticking away moments that shouldn't exist. Time, the very essence they had fought so valiantly to protect, was unraveling before their eyes. At least it seemed so. A comfortable silence settled between them, broken only by the soft rustle of pages as Zainab turned to continue reading. After a while, she looked up, her gaze meeting. For a long moment, they simply stared at each other, the weight of their shared journey, their unspoken feelings pressing between them. Finally, Zainab spoke, her voice barely a whisper. "Do you ever wonder," she began hesitantly, "if this is how it's supposed to end? Just a quiet moment?" Taimoor offered her a soft smile, understanding the unspoken question behind her words. Was this truly their fate, to spend eternity in this timeless haven after sacrificing everything? Or were they destined to roam the infinite corridors of time, forever seeking equilibrium? "A quiet moment," he echoed, his voice resonant but gentle. "Yes, a deserved one, I hope." But even as he spoke, the tranquility of their haven was shattered. In unison, they stood up, their gazes locked on the mesmerizing yet terrifying display. Their sanctuary, their haven, was under attack. Before them was a sight that defied comprehension. A secret vault previously hidden from all keepers, their own personal abyss. As they stood there transfixed, the ticking of Taimoor's watch grew frantic. In a voice that was Taimoor's but somehow more resonant, more commanding, the echo asked, "What are you doing here?" Zainab, who had been silent until now, stepped forward, her voice ringing with determination. "What are you? How can he become himself? And as the last grains of sand slipped through the hourglass, the sky outside the window turned a deep shade of violet, signaling the approach of twilight.